Anybody know?
I think
Anybody
so.
know what day it is?
Today is Tuesday.
It is Tuesday. All right.
Tuesday.
Are we on the
What
table?
is up, everybody, and welcome into the DNVR Lounge at DNVR HQ. I'm your host, Adam Matas, today, walking you through free agency roundup. We did the live show yesterday. That was fun, by the way.
That was.
I enjoyed doing free agency live.
It was a great time.
And it turned out that we got 90% of the Denver free agency within that hour. The only thing we missed was Austin Rivers. I don't think we caught him. He was signed to list us a little bit later. So it was a fun time to do it live. But today we have digested. Yesterday we ate. Today we digested. And we're going to break down everything that we take away.
You guys want one more while we're here?
Are we doing it again?
San Antonio Spurs are finalizing sending DeMar DeRozan to the Chicago Bulls for Thad Young
I like that.
and a
Tourist
future
strikes
first-round
again.
pick.
I like it, man.
Could
I
say
like
he's bold.
our tourists, man. I
It's
like his
funny
team.
because whenever Chicago Bulls people would ask me about Arturas and how he's going to handle this job, I was like, well, look at what they did in Denver. They were patient. They built from within. They didn't make any big splashes. No, he went the exact opposite. He went super aggressive. He totally remade the team in a year.
Yeah, he
Totally.
really did. He really did. And he made like my dream team, so I'm a little jealous. I'm thinking about moving to Chicago, guys. Is it cold there?
Hey, you take that back.
I'm kidding. I'm
Oh, you know what?
Yes, it's cold.
Do it.
It looks lovely this time of year. We're presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. As always, America's top-rated sportsbook app. You can use promo code DNVR whenever you sign up. And you can bet on Summer League games, which are happening next week. Your boy is going to be right there live in Las Vegas covering them from the Thomas and Mack Arena / Cox Pavilion. So we will be there hopefully doing some really cool stuff. I think we have a meeting planned, I believe, for tomorrow now. Where we're going to go over all the different things we're going to be doing.
Get hyped for that meeting, everybody.
Yeah, I'm just saying we want to make this. We want to take you
back
with
the
us to Summer League. Yeah, we want to take you with us so you guys get to see what it's like, and it should be a really fun time.
Pack your
Also,
masks, everybody.
D-Line, you've never been to Summer League.
That's true. I've never been. I'm looking forward to it. I think I'm going to lose money gambling.
Probably.
I'm going to
Check.
say things that shouldn't be said, and
Well,
I'm going to
that part.
embarrass all of you. You're going to regret it. I can't wait for it. Let's go.
I'm going to be doing a lot of I don't know this guy.
Hell yeah! I'm going to be wearing my Harrison Wind shirt, so you can't disavow me.
Today's show, we are going to talk about winners and losers of free agency. I always love doing this. Winners, losers, breaking down a lot of the different teams. We went over Denver. We're also going to talk about Denver a little bit more and digest that a little bit more. But I want to start by talking about the Summer League roster for the Nuggets. And what's interesting is today was the first day of practice. I was so excited for it. Harrison, how did it go? How was the first day of practice?
Very underwhelming. There was, in fact, no practice.
Oh, wow.
No practice today.
Oh, it's a rest day, workout day, team gatherings and so forth.
No, not even that.
Oh, no.
Not even that.
Why not? No. What's happening?
Well, the Nuggets' first Summer League practice was canceled this morning due to health and safety protocols. So
I feel like I got in a time machine and I went back 5 months into the past.
Yeah.
Doesn't it kind of feel that way? Like I was, especially here in Colorado, you just feel like, okay, not even thinking about it now. Here we are again, smack dab with COVID protocols, canceling practices and putting everything in doubt.
Yeah, it's like everybody just keeps shoving this stuff in a closet and be like,
Yeah.
I'm sure it's gone. And then you check out it again and you're like,
Yeah.
here we are as it spills out into the living room. Yeah.
Speaking of which, man, because I'm doing this exact thing right now, getting the house ready for sale. And it's exactly that. All those things that you stuffed in closets and were like,
Yeah.
I'll deal with this later. They are all due now.
Yeah.
And then also like the little minor repairs, like, kid poked a little hole in the wall and you're like, it's not big enough to bug me,
Yeah.
but it's, whatever. And
Yeah.
now you're like, well, I got 100 honeydew list things. Honey,
this is the hole I
honey,
punched
I
in the
do.
wall after the 2017 draft. You got to patch that up,
I got to patch that one up for sure. So, all right. Well, Harrison, I know we don't know too many details just yet, but
Yeah.
what does this mean?
I mean, look, on one hand, I guess you shouldn't be surprised if these things pop up because there are just players coming into not just Denver, but all these cities from all over the country, from all over the world for Summer League. Not 100% of them are vaccinated.
Yep.
I don't know what the case is exactly in Denver, but I think these things are going to pop up. So there's hope they'll practice tomorrow. They were supposed to have a 2-a-day today. They usually have a couple 2-a-days during Summer League. One of those was supposed to be today. They've got practice scheduled tomorrow through Saturday, and then their first Summer League game is Sunday.
Let's go over the NBA's updated health and safety protocols because now you have vaccinated players, unvaccinated players. Of course, you can't force guys to do it, but what is the what are the different possibilities for, time frames and this or that?
Well, the big thing is when you're unvaccinated, you have to test every day.
Yeah.
And when you're vaccinated, you don't. I think it's every 2 or 3 days.
Okay.
So, I mean, with how prevalent the Delta variant has become, like unvaccinated people are going to test positive, And those,
vaccinated too, by the way.
Yeah, vaccinated too, but the unvaccinated ones are testing every day.
Right. Oh, right.
So a lot of those are going to pop up. So, I mean.
And to your earlier point, right, a lot of guys that just got drafted coming from all over the world, who knows what their incentives were in their previous environment. So, yeah, I mean, Summer League, you definitely have to buckle down for a potential wave.
By the way, Las Vegas, hotbed at the moment for this Delta variant.
Dude,
so
let's go.
You know what it's also a hotbed for?
What?
Heat.
It is a hotbed. It's actually just a hotbed.
I'm actually just happy we have a bed.
I'm excited. So anyway, this is off to a really rough start, and it's concerning. And, we kind of talked about this a little bit. This is like maybe sharing some personal stuff, but, COVID's been out of sight, out of mind a little bit relative to the 18 months or whatever it was, where it was like an everyday, this is your life now, like whatever. Vaccine rollout's been good in Colorado. Everybody, life back to normal, bar open. Everything seems going well. And then over these last couple weeks, really, you start to hear different stories about Florida or this or that. And now all of a sudden, here we are with basketball coming back. And we're like, oh, God, here we are again.
What would a basketball season be without COVID concerns, though? I don't even know what that feels like. I don't remember. I don't want to know, dude. This is my new life.
Yeah. Well, let's assume that this was maybe a false positive.
Hopefully.
Let's assume, that would be best case scenario. Let's assume that maybe it's, maybe it's one person or somebody in the organization that got it, but it's not going to derail the entire summer league.
Is it crazy to you that it's still like such a crazy? I mean, I guess maybe it's now associated with the vax thing, but it's like such a stigma. Like we don't know who it is. It's like a big secret. Like,
oh right, yeah.
It's like such a scandal. It's like somebody went out and like
totally.
They cheated on their taxes.
Totally, man.
You're piecing together, okay, what picture, who's in what picture, who's not in this picture.
Know.
There's like heavier thoughts to be had about this that we don't have to necessarily go, but it is funny. You're absolutely right, where it's like somebody comes out, an NBA player comes out and has it, and you're like, what did you do, man? Like,
how is it that you got in touch with the most contagious virus it's ever been? Like, what is wrong with you?
So here we have this. Hopefully it's not something that is going to derail the season or the summer league, and hopefully it's not anything that puts anybody's lives in danger. But let's talk about some of the guys that are on the roster, because it is pretty, I think it's really interesting if everybody shows up. First of all, do we have a confirmation that Bol Bol is in town? Does anybody have a confirmation? Have we seen a tweet or a photo or a text or anything that says, hey, Bol Bol is here?
We usually get reports that he's out around town riding a Lime scooter. I've heard the same report like 10
some of those
times.
texts
Really?
In the last couple months, yeah.
Really? Yeah. Have you gotten one this week by chance? Okay.
No. I mean, look, he's on the roster, so there's some expectation or hope that he's going to be on the team, right? Yeah. Like, if he just wasn't on the roster, that'd be a very bad sign. That'd be a very bad sign. Now, I
love this breakdown.
Yeah. But just because he is on the roster,
he does exist.
Yeah.
Well,
we know that.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. We don't know that.
He is on the roster, so I feel like the Nuggets obviously think there's some hope that he will play. Now, I'm not going to say it's 100% guarantee that he will play.
Dude,
if he doesn't play,
the Hedge Olympics.
Yeah. If he doesn't play, it's a very bad sign for his future with the Nuggets. Even if he does play, I'm not going to say he's necessarily going to be on the team next year.
Yeah.
So to answer your question, I don't think I answered it.
Right.
Incredible.
Let's assume Bol Bol is healthy, vote and playing. Give me your top 5 most interesting players. Actually, give me your top 3. 5 might be too hard. Give me your top 3 most interesting players.
Yeah, I mean, when you ask that question, Bol's in there every time. It just doesn't matter to me.
But I want to hear what
literally
number 1.
the most interesting player.
All right, so yours would have had Bol, but I'll go to you next, Eric.
Okay.
But I want to hear.
If you take even one of my players, I will punch you.
I'll go to Bones
Son
instead
of a-
because there's I think, more headroom for a future here in Denver. And so it's a little less like, oh, does someone else see second round value in Bol? And more like, oh, did the Nuggets do the right thing drafting this guy? And I think a summer league environment is going to be one that he's capable at least of showing out in. So
Yeah.
I hope to see it.
So Bones number 1.
Bones number
Oh,
one.
All right,
easy.
what's number 2?
I'll go Bol number 2.
Bol's number 2. Wow.
Dude, you can't take your eyes off Bol
It's so
for better or for worse.
It's funny because you could this question we're all answering with your logical brain, but when you get down to Summer League, if Bol's out there, yeah, you're right. That's all you're rooting for. It's like, shoot it!
The other thing about Bol is if he plays even 1 minute, he's going to be the biggest story nationally on the Nuggets roster.
Yeah, that's true. He will swallow up the storyline.
I mean, if he just scores one basket, get the Bleacher Report notifications ready. Like, Bol Bol is a problem.
Bol Bol is a problem. Emoji, huff emoji. All right, number 3.
League.
Zeke Nnaji.
Oh.
Zeke Nnaji. Because I have no clue what his role or slot is in the rotation as the regular season begins. And I also am a little bit worried that maybe we don't see a ton of him this year. So as much as I can, I want to. I'm curious how he looks to see in Summer League. And is that an environment where he can maybe try a little more than just the super coachable catch and shoot machine he's been in the NBA? Is there an in-between game? Does he put it on the floor at all? Is that something you want to see him do in Summer League?
I love that, yeah. Well, so, all right, so you had an order. Is it the exact same order?
No. Brendan and I don't share any thoughts.
Okay.
That's right.
Number 1, Bones Hyland. I guess we shared that.
Okay. Tough start.
Number 2, Marcus Howard.
Marcus.
I want to see
I feel like you're just saying that to be different.
Yeah.
No.
I
I want to see.
There's actually no avenue for him to be on the team.
That's
Is
what's
it not?
That's
well,
what's
I mean,
interesting.
you could trade
he
Bol
could
Bol.
get another two-way, and then depending on what happens,
I want to
Bol's roster
see.
spot.
I want to see Bones and Marcus on the floor at the same time. The fill it up friends. They
Ooh, I like it as a duo.
just shoot it. I mean,
The fill it up
I want to
friends.
see Marcus Howard play against G League / Summer League talent and just absolutely destroy people.
Can we call it the How High lineup?
Oh no!
Huh? That's
How
good.
high?
Howard, Marcus Howard.
Oh,
Bones
I thought it was
Hyland,
like a weed joke.
How high? Come on,
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
This is a good joke.
Look, if it's that
I
important
get
to
no
you-
respect. Everybody in the comments here, look at that. Was a great nickname I
Yeah,
came up with.
How
Yeah,
high.
no,
Yeah.
just like my
No, I
nickname
like
for
it.
Bones
It
Hyland
took
is
me
Bo
a second, but I like it.
It took me a second
Bohai's
too.
good, though.
Bohai's good, man.
Bohai's
Bohai.
good.
The king of Bohai.
And then of course Bol Bol.
So he's third.
He's third. It's
All
the
right,
same.
so we're very similar.
So it is the
well, it
same.
wasn't the same order and one different guy.
Okay, all right.
For me, I'm using my pragmatic brain here. Probably will feel differently when I'm watching these guys in person. But for me, number 1 is Zeke Nnaji.
Me too.
Why? Because he's far and away the guy that is ready to make an immediate impact. Bones would be great. I'm very excited for him. But no matter what he does, I just don't think he's playing this year. I mean, he'll be up in Grand Rapids.
That's the thing is, for me, just sorry to interrupt. Zeke, we know is going to play. We know, I don't want to see him play against lesser talent.
Yeah.
I know what he has. It just needs to be cultivated.
He's 100% the type of player that doesn't shine though too in summer league.
Totally. He's going to have a Vlatko existence in the
totally.
summer
I
league.
guess
He'll do well. Whatever. He'll score 12, 14 points a game, whatever. It'll be interesting. But I want to see summer league play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Zeke's number 1 for me too, because he's the only guy on this roster that I think might contribute significantly next season. And putting him in a summer league environment, to your point, kind of D-line, yes, with the Nuggets, he's going to be a catch and shoot guy from 3. He's going to be really good defensively. In a summer league environment, he's going to have a chance to show what else he's capable of. And all the reports we've heard, he's been in the gym all summer. He's been in Denver all summer. He's really, really been working on his game. So I'm curious to see what else he can do other than the stuff he's shown he can do with the Nuggets A team. Now, he's not going to do that stuff when he plays rotation minutes for the Nuggets most likely, but I want to see what else he can do.
I honestly don't think he's been working on any of that other stuff. So for me, I just want to see if he
true.
knocks down threes. I mean, he's a great 3-point shooter, and I want to see if he goes to summer league, shoots 40% on catch and shoot threes, and gets volume. And by the way, I mean, again, we're hoping Bol Bol plays here. We're hoping there's a team. We're hoping a lot of things here. But if you had a front court that was Bol Bol and Zeke Nnaji, and a back court that was Marcus Howard and Bones Hyland, you're off to such a great start. I'm looking at this and I'm like, man, there's so much spacing. That's going to be a wide open paint. There's so much shooting.
Oh, yeah.
All 4 of those guys knockdown shooters. So I want that. And then the guy, and we can kind of move on to the other ones here, but Deontay Burton is a guy that I wonder who's going to be the 3, the small forward basically for this Nuggets. And I wonder if it's him only because super athlete.
We got the scouting report, I think.
All right,
for
let's
him,
pull up
too.
the scouting report on Deontay Burton. Look at this. You guys thought we were done with graphics? We are not. Walk us through this, Harrison.
So, yeah, he's super athletic. He's also a really good rebounder, Deontay Burton. He's a weird type of archetype of player because he's only 6'5", I believe, but he's a forward / big man. He's not a guard.
Yeah.
He's like a PJ Tucker kind of deal.
Yeah, kind of PJ Tucker-ish, but he's really athletic. He can rebound. He's strong, too. He's a good defender as well. He played a couple seasons with Monte Morris at Iowa State, so there's a connection there. Not a good shooter and kind of undersized for his position, but he's a guy who, because of his athleticism and because of how hard he plays, could really show out in Summer League.
And especially, this is what I'm talking about. You get 4 shooters, because it's hard to be a non-shooter, right? But you get 4 shooters. You get Bol Bol and Marcus and Bones and Zeke. Like, there's so much room for a hyper-athletic, really tough guy. And by the way, well, I don't have a full scout report on him, just kind of the overview. Sounds like a Malone guy.
Oh.
Not a shooter, not a skill player, but you know what? He's tough. He's physical.
There's actually
he's strong.
a couple of those guys on the Summer League roster.
This is like
Malone
assembled
guys.
by Michael Malone.
When I was doing these strengths and weaknesses, it's like I think every guy's weakness is shooting.
Yeah. All right.
But,
well, first of all, Deontay Burton, of all the others, we just listed the 4 guys who are actual Nuggets, or Marcus Howard, who was an actual Nugget. Is Burton the most interesting to you of the others?
It's probably Burton or Caleb Agada.
Okay. All right.
Just because I feel like we've talked about Caleb Agada for a while, so I've talked myself into him a little bit.
And he had that one great game.
Yeah, the big game against Team USA. But Burton, he's played with the Oklahoma City Thunder / Blue, their G League team last year, or I guess 2 years ago. 14.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, for a guy that's just 6'5". So he gets on the glass.
All right, let's do Caleb Agada next.
So Caleb Agada, we already know a lot about him, I feel like. 6'3" guard, 26 years old, played in Israel last year. A really late bloomer. Just talking to people around the league, nobody knew who Caleb Agada was in NBA circles like 2 years ago. And then he burst onto the scene last year in Israel, had like a 40-point game towards the end of the year. So his game is defense and spark plug scoring. He's a slasher. He likes to get to the rim. Not a consistent three-point shooter, but he can get hot. Like he got hot against Team USA in that exhibition game a few weeks back. Last year in Israel, averaged like 22 points a game, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Only shot 33% from 3, but he's streaky, can get hot a little bit. So he's the other guy I'm excited for.
I don't really have a whole lot of Caleb Agada thoughts, other than to say I was a lot more excited about him 2 weeks ago.
Well, he had the big game against Team USA and then just didn't really play a lot for Team Nigeria, who had a pretty short stay.
By the way, since they stopped playing him, they stopped winning.
Yeah. I mean,
oh man,
it's curious.
For shame, Team Nigeria.
It's also a little, just from the Denver perspective this time around, and T building, like you want to nail everything, even down to the 2As, but it's also like Denver's sort of a step beyond, how much can like the Caleb Agadas of the world help them? I mean, maybe marginally, and depth is important, but I just think Summer League as a whole is a little less interesting because they're just in more of a win now mode than they've been.
Except for I'm reminded of 2018, which I believe was the Torrey Craig year, which if you recall, he was on a 2-way the whole year. He was in the G League putting up Michael Jordan numbers. But then he came back to Denver for the playoffs and ended up starting a few games. So it could be the best case scenario for Denver's 2 ways this year is they find somebody like that. And there is a need at small forward. So if they found a defensive-minded guy who's not really with the team for most of the year, but you can bring him back in a pinch, that would be the one
And they
thing.
also have a G League team.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So
That's a
some of
great
these
point,
guys
too,
maybe could wind up there if they want a closer pathway
But you're right,
to the
though.
NBA.
Like, there's been years past where you're like, oh man, I hope this guy can be our starting point guard or whatever. Like, just all of these guys, you're like, so many question marks in the team, and we are talking about like the margins of the margins at this point, where it's like, okay, there's like a interesting little story, like. Maybe you bring him on. He's on the G League squad. You bring him up in case of emergency.
I'm telling you, nobody remembers Jokic's first Summer League where Ian Clark looked great. And if you go back and watch it, he looked great because Jokic. Yeah. Jokic like making his life so easy. And everyone's like, wow, Ian Clark, is he our next guy? Yeah. We were sleeping on him.
Come a long way.
We've come a long way. All right, what else we got here?
I think we got highlights of these guys, too, if we want to look at those. But we can move on to the next guy also.
Yeah, we'll just keep it going because we're running short on time. Actually, should we hit a break and then get to the rest of these guys on the other side?
Sure.
Let's do that. We'll hit our first break. There's 2 more or 3 more guys, I think, to kind of go quickly over and give some highlights on the other side, as well as the winners and losers. I can't wait to talk about the losers.
Oh, losers.
I'm gonna eat a cupcake.
Such losers.
You need a cupcake?
Can you pick me up a Mile High City Copper Lager if we got any?
Wait a minute. You're getting a he's hungry, so he's getting a cupcake.
I think we're out of Mile High City Copper Lager too. We got to re-up on that.
I'm never going to recover from Brendan leaving mid-show to eat a cupcake.
Well,
this is incredible.
He dipped into the beer fridge that has been very, very empty since the playoffs ended. Just saying that out loud. The beer fridge has been very empty since the playoffs ended. Make sure to pick up some Mile High City Copper Lager this week from Breck Brew. You can pick some up at the Breck Brew farmhouse. If you haven't... Cupcake confirmed good. Just going to town on the cupcake.
Yeah. I'm going to have a hard time finishing
Shouts
this show.
to DNVR member Brian, whose family has the shop there in Gold. Do you remember the
Thanks
name?
for
Is it on there?
Brian?
It's on the thing. Go find it so I can give him a shout out. They brought us cupcakes.
Go get another cupcake too.
We'll do it live.
Shout out Brian.
Yo, hit me with a cupcake while we're up.
If you're around the Breck Brew Farmhouse, check it out. Really cool area. Great food, great drinks there. Multiple bars. Pick up some Mile High City Copper Lager from there or your local liquor store as well. It is Tuesday, so got to talk about Ball. As in Ball Arena. We're now sponsored by Ball across the entire DNVR network. Really cool company. They sponsor Ball Arena, of course. They're also the aerospace technology company. They're also the world's largest aluminum can and packaging manufacturer. And they're, doing really cool stuff. Of course, they make the 8, 12, and 16-ounce can sizes for all kinds of liquids. Ball makes cans in over 30 different sizes at facilities across the world. The Golden plant right here in Golden, they make regular 8-ounce and 12-ounce sleek cans, a 24-ounce growler, size 12 and 24-ounce cans as well, Alumitech bottles, several different can lid sizes. If you want to work for Ball right here in Golden, check them out, jobs.ball.com, or search for Golden, or you can simply text Golden to 77222. Again, they're looking for the best workers here in the Denver area. If you want to look at their Golden plant, go to jobs.ball.com, search for Golden.
Also, Goldmine. That was the name. Goldmine Cupcakes.
That's right. I gotta say,
That was a tough
2
segment
thumbs
for
up.
me just now.
2 thumbs up.
That was really tough for me. I couldn't look over there. It was too much.
What was happening?
It was hilarious to watch Brendan eat a cupcake.
Live on the internet?
Yep.
Live on the internet. All right, let's get to these other guys. Harrison, who's up next on our scouting report?
Next, we've got a name that I haven't heard a while who surfaced with
John
Denver.
Travolta.
Haven't heard him.
It's not Emmanuel Mudiay or Kenneth Farid, who are going to be at Summer League with Portland. It's Tarik Black.
Yeah, Tarik Black.
Man. He was in the NBA a while back, has been overseas for these last couple of years, played for Zenit in Russia, averaged 7 points, 4 rebounds a game for them, almost a block per game in 20 minutes. So didn't play a ton. The connection with the Nuggets that I found, he was Will Barton's teammate at Memphis.
Correct.
A while back. But he's a really physical, big-bodied big man. Seems like he's a nice roller in the pick and roll, pretty athletic. Good finisher, good shot blocker, judging from the scout I've watched on him. Again, not a good shooter, though, which is a theme.
Woo, that's our kind of guy.
The guy's coming off the bench for this summer league team.
He actually trained with Will Barton, by the way.
Okay.
Years back. I think it's on the Will Barton documentary I did that he, Dan Conley, Tim Conley's brother, trained him along with Will Barton. So, yeah, those guys, there is a connection, their family connection. So it makes sense.
He's 30 years old?
Yes. I think 29 or 30.
29, yeah.
So a little older, probably trying to have a good summer league and get back into the NBA.
Or just pulling the Jack Cooley. Like he honestly is kind of a Jack Cooley player where, and this happens, by the way, a lot of times teams will bring in guys like that to the camp to work out. Like, so for example, Zeke Nnaji, maybe you're going to play some center this year. Why don't you go up against grown man Tarik Black and let's see how he does against really strong, bully, big rebounder type. So that could be the reason there. Okay, who else?
So this next guy, I'm actually a little intrigued by.
Okay.
Xylan Cheatham.
Okay.
Xylan Cheatham, 6'8" forward, 25 years old, played with the Iowa Wolves this last season, the Timberwolves G League affiliate. And honestly, if you're looking for a Torrey Craig type guy, here's your guy.
All right.
6'8", really strong, defensive-minded, pretty good athlete, good rebounder. He's pretty much just like a play finisher. Doesn't really have a lot of creativity, not a one-on-one offensive guy. He's like a classic 4th or 5th option who's going to finish around the rim, get out in transition, do a lot of dirty work. Average 10.5 points, 8 rebounds per game for Iowa this last season in the G League. Really athletic. So, like, he's a guy who could have some fun highlights in the G League.
Can't shoot, though.
No, can't. Non-shooter. Yeah.
Just implied at this point. Yeah.
Here's him in the G League.
Okay, let's check it out. Some G League highlights.
Open floor.
You know, he kind of moves like, at least that fast break really moves like Lou Dort.
Yeah. Kind of got the Lou Dort hair going,
That
too.
was just about to say, that is
the hair?
full hair comp.
There's the comp.
But he's also like thicker, you know. I mean, look at it. Like Lou Dort has like he's like a rhinoceros. He's just very heavy-footed. The way he like stomps the court when he runs.
No, he is very Dortish. I will say.
Yeah, he is Dortish. I love that Lou Dort is a mold of player now because I've comped him to like 5 guys over the last couple of weeks.
Well, he's just a defensive wing that can't shoot.
Yeah, but he's also a type. You know, it's like a body type that's not that common in the NBA.
Yeah,
the rhinoceros.
We've discovered there's lots of Will Bartons and Lou Dorts coming up.
That's so true. Yeah. Everybody is one of those two. Is he skinny? It's Will Barton. Is he thick? It's Lou Dort. The skill set anything like? No.
We really do. I mean, Lou Dort is such an incredible name, but it's not as incredible as Lugens Dort.
I'm a big Lou Dort fan, by the way. Big Lou Dort
I can
fan.
tell.
Yeah, it's overtaken the entire Xylan Cheatham. So.
Well, I'm just saying we might have our new Lou Dort. It's Xylan Cheatham. I'm actually excited. I'm intrigued by this guy.
I'm intrigued, too.
So you did. Sorry, if I heard you correctly at the start, you did say, of that Torrey Craig mold, this actually is a guy to circle.
I mean, we're kind of stretching here, I think.
Sure.
But
More
if I
in the-
had to pick one guy on the Summer League roster who reminds me a little bit of Torrey Craig,
But
it's
more so of
Cheatham.
Lou Dort.
Tethering your entire
can we get a
reputation
promotional
to-
graphic? It just says Harrison Wynn says Silent Cheatham, the next Torrey Craig?
I'll tweet that out.
Or is he more of Lou Dort? Adam Mattis.
I mean, he's also 25, so around the same age Torrey was.
That's perfect.
Maybe
man.
a little older.
Yeah, that's perfect.
when he got here.
Barely older than Chris Duarte.
It is hilarious just to think back to the impact that Torrey Craig had in the G League. He was G League LeBron James.
Yeah.
G League
30 points per
the
game.
greatest
The leap is crazy.
the greatest player the G League has ever seen just gets traded every offseason.
By the way,
everyone's like, whatever.
We're way off this track now, but 3 years, $85 million for DeRozan in Chicago.
That seems like a lot.
That does seem like an awful lot of money for DeRozan. $385?
There's got to be an option on
3 year, $85 million plus deal. Per
Man,
Shams.
that's really surprising.
Yeah.
That's really surprising.
Arturis, not a
is
slow
it, like,
rebound.
Wow, do I have to
28 or
to
something?
move Chicago from my winners list to losers list here? I mean, I like him there for like a year.
Not your dream team anymore?
Nah, I don't know, man. I don't know if Lonzo can really save DeRozan, but we'll find out. All right, is there anybody else?
We got one more guy who I put on here because he's got a name,
Yeah.
a recognizable name, Matur Maker.
That's a good name.
Now, he's not the McCurr Maker that the Nuggets
Right.
brought in for a pre-draft workout and who played in college last year. That's Thon Maker's cousin.
Okay.
This is Thon Maker's younger brother,
Okay.
who's not as highly regarded as a prospect, obviously as Thon Maker was, or as McCurr Maker was. Again, the guy that was eligible this year for the
When you
draft.
think about all-time mixtape high school players, like Thon Maker is he's in the top 10.
From when Thon Maker was 14 years old.
Oh yeah, the next
Kevin
KD.
Durant.
Yeah, the next KD, and you looked at him physically, and you're like, he is, and he's only 14, and then it was just like
alternatively, the first Bol Bol. We'll say
the first Bol Bol.
Yeah, sure. So I was a little intrigued by this guy looking at his name when I looked at the highlight tape, which was very hard to find, by the way. Not as much intrigued. He played overseas a little bit, then spent some time with the Rockets G League team, Rio Grande Valley. Last season or 2 seasons ago, I might have played with Isaiah Hartenstein. He also, I believe, was high school teammates with Jamal Murray at Orangeville Prep. So that's a little interesting.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, 5.5 points.
That's
4
actually a big deal, I would
rebounds
say.
per game. Yeah, notable for sure. But just a real weird game. I feel like you think he's athletic, but he's got a real herky-jerky feel to the game with him. I don't really get a sense of what he's good at other than that he's 6'11".
Looks like Pascal Sloakam.
Right.
Wow.
Oh, look at that spin move. That was
Right.
the weirdest move ever.
Yeah. So
That's
I
something,
was,
Eric.
my eyebrows were raised at the name, but I don't have a ton of expectations for him.
Sure.
Okay. All right, let's move on now to free agency. And should we start with the winners? Or should actually let's start with Denver, because we actually haven't broken everything down fully. We'll do winners and losers in the final segment. But, we did this live. We talked about the different guys. Just to kind of recap, the Nuggets are retaining Will Barton. They got him for a 2-year deal worth $32 million, be $16 million basically. I think they very clearly desperately needed him for one more year. That would be this year.
Yeah.
And then after that, a little bit more of a flex year. I think there's no reason to think that money is, one, not tradable, two, not worth the value, and it's
Right.
expiring, so it's low leverage. Now that we have a day kind of sitting on this, is there any other updated thoughts on Will Barton?
The 2 years is perfect. That's really it. I mean, it was just a tightrope to walk, where I understood that maybe a lot of people didn't want to commit a third or fourth year and a lot of money after the injury concerns. But the reality is, or my perspective on this season has always been, you simply cannot punt this if you're Denver. You have to look at this as, we can get those 5 guys on the floor. We think we'll be good in the regular season. And if that's your perspective, then Will Barton, especially with the cap situation, was essential.
If the Nuggets over the next 2 years end up winning a championship, going to a finals, whatever it is, reach that level of success, to me personally, it wouldn't feel the same if Will Barton was there. He is the longest tenured Nugget, even more so than Michael Malone or Nikola Jokic. Mm-hmm. He's been there 7 years, I believe. So the fact that he gets to sort of finish what he helped start, I just think it's really cool. And then also, more than anything, Denver just needed him.
Well, I think that's more. I mean, we said the same thing essentially about Gary Harris, and then we traded him, and now we're, you're looking back and you like him, but you don't long for having Gary Harris.
The difference with Gary Harris is that he had miserable seasons back to back.
Yeah,
Will Barton hasn't. He's just been injured.
Yeah, the thing to remember is, as we were going down the stretch after we lost Jamal Murray and it felt like all hope was lost, the Nuggets rattled off a bunch of wins, and Will Barton
2
wasn't
years
even,
in a row.
Yeah, Will Barton wasn't even part of it. He was also injured for most of it. Then he came back and he made them even better.
Yeah.
So, it is there is always, at this point in the off season, this time of year, where you're looking to win the off season, which is like the most foolish way to go about looking at the actual any sports season ever. I mean, it's just always like, oh man, they won the draft, they won the off season, and they're gonna be the 10th seed.
Yeah,
that's like usually the way that it unfolds. The Nuggets are in a place where, again, they figured out who they are. They figured out the right combination of players, and it would be so foolish to just flush that and try and start something new when it really just comes down to getting their guys back. And the point being is Will Barton is a piece that can help them to stay afloat long enough to actually weather the storm. And so, yes, you got to bring Will Barton back.
We are also setting up a scenario just like the last two where, all right, Murray's not back till March. Barton, we're going to need you 35 minutes a night. And then the Nuggets really, he's by far the most important player in the backcourt now. And that means he's probably going to play a lot of minutes. He's going to have to carry. He's not going to be able to miss a ton of games.
Right.
And then you do worry about, does he get to March? And it's like, now it's time to make a push. And he's like, I've been carrying.
Right.
Maybe not. I said this one time and people got so mad at me. Will Barton carries the team. No, Jokic does. Okay, yes, Jokic does. What I mean is that Barton has to play a little bit more and above what is expected of him. Jokic is expected to carry the team. Will Barton has to do a little bit more for prolonged periods, and he's done it. He's been such a good soldier about that, to say, hey, I'll do this.
But it's come at a cost.
But it's come at a cost, and that cost has cost him some health. So it'll be interesting to see how Denver manages that. Yeah. The other side here, JaMychal Green was the second domino to fall. I was a little bit more surprised about him. Here's the one question I want to ask, and we touched on it yesterday, but now that we have Jeff Green, and we'll talk about him in a second, but there's Jeff Green, there's JaMychal Green, and then there's Zeke Nnaji, stuck in between two Greens. Greener pastures on every side of Zeke Nnaji at the moment.
How many jokes are we going to make
just going to keep doing it, just going to keep going there,
Hey, it's your
everywhere
day.
You look, you're seeing
get old real quick.
Green over here is great. Anyway, you got Zeke Nnaji in the middle there. What's the confidence level, Harrison, that Zeke Nnaji is not going to just be a part of the team, but for me, I want to see 20 minutes of him. What are the chances we're going to see 20 minutes of Zeke Nnaji?
Not great.
20
minutes?
We're talking
That's a backup big.
We're talking
amount
per
of
game,
minutes.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, total 20 total minutes of him.
I think the two primary backup bigs are Jeff Green and JaMychal Green.
Oh, I hate hearing this. You really think that?
I mean, Jeff Green, I don't think has really played small forward in a couple years.
Yeah, no, it's been a long time.
It's been more like 6 years.
He's been more of a 4 or 5 these last few years.
Yeah.
And yeah, he has played 3 in the past, but his best position now is at the 4 or 5. So,
this is the worst song I've ever heard.
I feel like it's one thing we didn't talk about enough in yesterday's show was, can Nnaji play small forward? Is that too big? Is that too much of an ask?
That question, can he, is different than should he?
Should he?
Sure.
Yeah.
That's well, okay, how about this?
See,
will he?
Offensively, Jeff Green could play the 3. Defensively, he's more of a 4 or 5.
Sure. Okay.
So,
you swap those.
Yeah, so something that's been great about the Nuggets offense with Will Barton at the 3, you got him coming off dribble handoffs. You got him in the pick and roll. He's great in those situations. He can handle. He can play make. That's really important in the Nuggets offense to have a guy like that at the 3. Zeke Nnaji's not that guy yet, or he probably will never be that guy. Yeah. Jeff Green is closer to that guy, obviously way closer than Zeke Nnaji. So maybe you could go, all right, Jeff Green on offense, you're the 3. On defense, you're the 4. Zeke Nnaji on offense, you're the 4. On defense, you're the 3.
Sure.
Maybe that's a way to get Zeke on the floor. 20 minutes per game, I'd be surprised, though, man. I'd be surprised.
What's the alternative now? Rivers back up 2, PJ back up 3?
Yeah. Facu, Austin, PJ. 1, 2,
Eric,
3.
does this bug you at all? I mean, does this concern you?
It concerns me only in that I wish we had a real backup center. Like
that part doesn't bother me, to be honest.
Really?
With
like
you.
it does me. It bothers me that we don't have a single truly defensive 5 on the squad.
But what do you need?
I guess we didn't. I mean, we didn't.
That's the thing.
Well, we didn't use him that often. I just feel like you're going to run into situations where you have like, oh, you weren't done.
Are we going back?
We're trying to derail Eric.
That's not that really
Votes
not that
gone
difficult.
From green juices to cupcakes.
Well, we always talk about
Yeah.
we always talk about this in 5-man groups, but honestly, another part of why I'm so high on Zeke Nnaji is I want to see him next to Michael Porter and Jokic. I want to see him in between those guys because same as you're talking about his ability to sort of go back and forth between the 3 and the 4 defense versus offense, that works for Michael Porter as well. Can Zeke Nnaji be a stretch 4 who guards 3s and then allows Michael Porter to guard the standstill 4s?
I don't like this at all in that we have a bunch of tweener guys. It's just
so
like
true.
it's just all. I mean, you can say that this is the era of positionless basketball. It's better to have guys that can play every position, but it is a little disconcerting that we have such confusion as to, and maybe that's good. I don't know. Perhaps this perceived weakness can actually be a strength, but I don't love the center thing. Maybe I'm alone in this. I do wish that we had if we can get a Hartenstein kind of type.
Yeah, he's available.
Somebody that
He's out there.
Put up great numbers in the G League.
There's an interesting comment there from Carlos Romero because it highlights both sides. The Suns went to the finals with Dario Saric as their backup 5. Fair point. And then what happened in the finals?
Yeah.
They absolutely needed another big.
Yeah.
So that example
Well,
kind of
Sarge
highlights.
got hurt.
Yeah, Saric was hurt.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
But they got bullied. They got bullied in the
Lacking
paint.
that size was a
in
part
the,
of it.
Yeah, but they
in the
got
finals.
bullied by Giannis.
I know it's
All right,
true.
that's a fair.
Maybe
Fair.
JaVale McGee now stops Giannis, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
I just think that they ran into a really tough. Once you go to the finals, you have to be great at everything, and it's really hard to be great at everything.
I don't think you necessarily need a backup center. I like the idea of JaVale coming back because I just thought JaVale's valuable. I just think he's a pretty good backup big. I think he's a good bench player. But one of my themes of this season and one of the storylines that we'll hit on a lot, I'm sure, is how much do the Nuggets just expand their rotation and try to get guys rest throughout the season?
That's a good
because
that's good,
it's one of the things I'm most curious about, man. Like, we know Michael Malone. We know how he likes to keep a very rigid and standard rotation throughout the season. He likes to play the same guys night in, night out. Next season, man, you got to find a way to get Yoke some rest. You got to make sure Michael Porter and Will Barton don't wear down during the season. In my opinion, you got to play the entire roster. And looking at the Nuggets roster, I think they have one guy who we're unsure of, 1 through 15, if he can play at an NBA level next year, and that's Bones Hyland. Everybody else, man.
Bol.
Well, yeah, and Bol. Everybody else can be a rotation player.
Right.
I mean,
At least in a pinch. Yeah.
Austin Rivers is like your 12th man.
Right.
You know,
Right.
he can play. Zeke Nnaji is your 13th man. He can play.
One thing George Karl always brings up on the Keeping It 1000 pod is just the like clarity of everybody knowing. He's like, I don't mind a gap between the 8th best player and the 11th best player. He's like, I like a gap there because then everybody knows. And I think that's one of the things we're kind of hitting on is Zeke better than Jeff Green and JaMychal Green? I mean, probably not JaMychal Green, but is he better than Jeff Green? And at what? At certain things? At this or that?
God,
like, how do you find that?
I hope he's better than JaMychal Green.
Zeke Nnaji?
Yes.
JaMychal Green's a quality
JaMychal
rotation player.
Green's a vet, man.
That's a high
I know,
outcome
but-
for a late first round.
Yeah.
Right, but like it's not, I don't believe, unrealistic at all to think that Zeke Nnaji would make a leap from rookie player to actual like starting to sniff at his actual.
He was redshirt rookie last year. I know he played a little bit, but he was redshirt rookie.
Right.
So this is his rookie season.
Well, I mean, but he was, that's not unreasonable either to have a guy that has been around the team, absorb what it is to travel with the team, get the NBA lifestyle, and then come in and actually start contributing right away. Like Zeke Nnaji has so much, he just has a lot of potential, and I would be bummed if he's not better than JaMychal Green.
I'm very high on Zeke Nnaji. I just don't want to put that too big of expectation on him just yet, but I am very high on him. I hope you're right. I just know that there's a lot to learn, and you have to learn a lot of that through experience, and he doesn't have any experience just
and
yet.
the Nuggets are really high on him too. Like the Nuggets want him to play. It's just
when you say the Nuggets, you mean the front office.
right.
No.
They love him, and I think Michael Malone really likes him too.
Yeah.
You know, like
I think he's a hard guy not to like, to be honest. Because I think he's a hard
what's
hat
not
and
to
lunch
like
pail guy.
about him.
Can
But
I play
mean,
devil's
it's-
advocate, though?
It's going to
Like,
be tough.
Is this like, is Denver at a point right now in their timeline where it's like, don't use the MLE on a helpful veteran because you got to get this late first rounder on the court? Like, don't you just, to Wynn's point, add as many NBA guys as you can? Depth is a good
If Jeff
thing.
Green was a world beater, and I like Jeff Green. I just he's not like he's a world beater. He's also 34.
I'm not like taking any victory laps over Jeff Green. I'm just saying you can use that MLE and get a veteran guy who's helped teams before, or you cannot. And I don't really see the benefit. I'm not. What I'm proposing is is it like a little too much of a rush to get Zeke on the floor? How important is that versus just talent?
Well, all I can tell you, I think the real point to all of this is that we just had a 10-minute discussion on this and came to no consensus. And I think now we're asking Michael
I think
Malone.
that says more about our terrible relationship.
It probably does. We all now hate each other and the fresh. No, but the point is that this is a tough thing, and the fact that it is difficult to me is probably not. I mean, Tim Conley for years has said, "Is it too bad to have good players?" I don't think so. Too many good players. It's like, well, maybe it is. According to George Karl, it could be too bad when you don't have just an absolute. This is our identity. This is our guy, and we have a next man up mentality. But at least we understand the next man up is the next man for a reason, not the man.
Well, I mean, luckily, like this doesn't have to be solved on paper. This is not just a theoretical conversation. Like you actually put the players together and see what works, what doesn't.
There's that, but I mean, JaMychal Green's not coming back here unless he's going to play 20-plus minutes a game. Jeff Green's not coming here unless he's going to be a part of the rotation. So, like, those guys are definitely going to play.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, but that's to start. Like,
sure,
everything changes.
Sure.
Like, as the NBA season unfolds, like everything that we thought gets flipped on its head. People are
Injuries,
bad.
of
People
course.
get injured.
Especially
People get
this
sent up to the gold. Like,
my guy Vlatko,
can't
sadly, it's like I think this one's easier. We talk about clarity. He's clearly now.
yes,
the sixth
there's some clarity there.
Yeah, I should say Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter, Zeke Nnaji, Jeff Green, JaMychal Green. So Vlatko Chanchar is now the 7th big, forward or center.
Or he's the backup 3.
Or he's the number 2 small forward. We don't know. So that's a little bit sad. Pour one out there. The last one is just Austin Rivers. We can go really quickly. I mean, he clearly loved it here. I mean, he won a Denver Nuggets a playoff game / series because I don't know if they even win that series if it isn't for him and his great play. So he already is sort of a Denver Nuggets legend. And I think for the role that he will have, which is to say he'll probably play a lot this year because Denver is one injury away from him being in the regular rotation and until Murray gets back. And then when Murray gets back, maybe he doesn't play so much, but at least he's in your back pocket. And like a Vlatko, you don't feel bad. If he has to step in and play like 20 minutes or start even, you don't feel terrible. Hopefully he doesn't have to start next year in the playoffs. But if he has to step in, like, hey, that's not a guy that's going to be lost. Yeah. He knows what to do. And who knows, maybe he'll hit some shots.
The Nuggets' philosophy, like you just said, and Tim's philosophy is we're just going to build as deep of a team as possible with as many guys that I can trust in an NBA game as possible. You can trust Austin Rivers. He showed that last year. Mm-hmm. I'm honestly a little surprised that he's back. I know the Nuggets want him back. I know Austin Rivers really liked it here. But, I mean, he's going to be the 5th guard without Jamal Murray,
Yeah, I mean, don't forget he was on the couch when the Nuggets got him. I mean, do people want him in the league? I know that he showed out in the one game, but he also wasn't like super consistent throughout the playoffs. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't have many suitors.
Here's the thing.
I think
he might be the third best defensive guard Denver has behind Dozier and Facu. Is he better than a Murray and a Monte? I think maybe marginally strong. He moves his feet well. He's not like an impact player, but he's good. Playoffs, yeah. So he might be the third best defensive player in the backcourt.
And
Barton,
look,
maybe. I mean, I don't know.
Injuries are going to happen. Weird stuff's going to happen. It's not the worst thing in the world to have guys who you trust, like Austin Rivers, in the reserve.
I mean, yeah, it's February and they're playing the Magic. Like, no part of you is like, oh, what is Austin Rivers doing out there? He's an NBA player.
Let's hit our final break. On the other side, we got to do winners and losers about free agency, and I can't wait. Now we get to look outside of the Nuggets at all these other losers. That should be fun.
Guys, at manscaped.com, use the code DNVR for 20% off plus free shipping. Again, use the code DNVR for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Good news for international listeners, actually. Their life-changing products are now available in Canada, the UK, across Europe, Australia, South Africa, and Singapore.
Unbelievable.
Manscaped going worldwide.
No excuses, Canada. Stop being so hairy.
Yeah, for all our listeners in Australia, no excuses anymore. No excuses.
Yeah, you gotta. Well, somebody should make a down under joke. I'm clearly above this.
I'm surprised it's not in the read. Actually, that's a good one. Pick up the Lawnmower 4.0 with that 4000 KLU spotlight. With the Perfect Package 4.0. It includes the Weed Whacker. Apparently, it's like having Derrick Henry run through those tough nose and ear hairs. Apparently.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah, I don't want Derrick Henry anywhere near my nose.
Sounds like the worst way to die.
Yeah, really true. Well, maybe be a little starstruck before you went out.
It is effective, though. I've used it.
Use the code DNVR for 20% off plus free shipping at manscaped.com. Right now at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, place any pre-event wager of $1 to be eligible to cash $100 in free credits if America wins any medal this year. That's 100 to 1 odds on an American athlete to stand on the podium and receive gold, silver, or bronze this week. Again, 100 to 1 odds.
Which the USA basketball team will be providing you.
Yes, you're very stoked about that. I can tell. The American
USA,
pride is
baby.
just shining
USA, dude. We're getting the gold.
We love it. Well, they'll definitely get a medal, I think.
That's what I mean. They're going to get a medal.
I think
they will. They
got Australia coming up though.
They will cash your bet. They will give you a medal one way or the other.
When is
they
that
do
game?
have Australia.
Probably tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, probably. I think so. Yeah.
Tomorrow night, late. Again, download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code DNVR when you sign up to turn $1 into $100 in free site credits if America wins a medal. That's code DNVR to turn $1 into $100 in free credits for a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Colorado only. New customers only. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Restrictions apply. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700. Finally, stop into Solace Meds today. They've got 4 convenient Colorado locations: Fort Collins, Wheat Ridge, Broadway, and on East Colfax, blocks from the DNVR bar. Solace has awesome deals going on throughout the entire month of August. Here's a couple to look forward to. Dixie Elixirs.
Let's freaking go, dude.
2 for $30.
That's a banging deal. That's a banging
Sound the air
deal
horn.
on a product that we would all endorse, not from personal use, obviously. We just heard tale.
Yeah. 2 for $30 on Dixie
Streets
Elixirs.
talking.
You're not going to find that deal anywhere
The streets
else.
are sleeping, then talking.
Yeah. Silver Shell Flour, 15% off. Spectra, 20% off. Ripple, 25%
What?
off. Tons of banging deals for August. Another really great deal. Drop the code DNVR20 at checkout. Get 20% off and get a free Solace bar or King Cone if you're at that Wheat Ridge location. If you're at any location, stop in. Get 20% off with the code DNVR20.
Kel, can we pull up the picture I just sent you from Instagram? We do have an update from one Jamichael Green.
What?
One Jamichael Green. We
He's
could go ahead and
watching
pull
the
it
show?
up. And we have, it says on the bottom, wouldn't want to be
Any other way.
any different.
Oh.
Hashtag unfinished business. Hashtag thank you, Lord. Hashtag MBK for life. Hashtag number 334, which is Alabama.
How'd you just jump over the most important part?
I didn't.
Okay.
I was going to the emoji of the week.
The emoji of the week.
Silverback gorilla.
Let's
Look
freaking
at Jamal
go,
getting in there too.
And then Jamal with a reply. I love that the Nuggets have their own emojis. Like Lock, Monte Morris.
The lock.
Yeah.
We got Silverback gorilla. Joker is a Joker.
Yeah.
Blue arrow is an arrow, and the I like this. Bones.
I was just about to say the reigning emoji of the week. Bones.
Raining emoji
Michael
of the
Porter
week.
is just like the curious looking emoji.
Curious.
Yeah. That one.
I love
Just
that.
generally curious.
I love that. That's the new Michael Porter.
Third curious emoji, is that a thing?
Wait, what?
Oh yeah.
Curious George.
No, but there's a lot of
Let's not.
photoshopping.
Yeah, let's not make that leap ourselves. Let's allow them to make that.
Yeah.
The curious face though, definitely.
Definitely the curious, the inquisitive.
By the way, can we just you pull up the other image I sent you, Kale, if you want. We just have to pour one out here for our guy Paul Millsap. I feel like Millsap's departure. I know you kind of eulogized him the other day, Eric, on our show live, but it's funny. Millsap really was an important piece of this Nuggets arc, if you look at it, and he's such an unheralded one. I love this one. Everybody does this all the time, right?
This.
Oh, you haven't seen it? Every fan base does this whenever a young up and coming team gets a veteran. They give this exact Photoshop.
Oh.
We're just pulling it a lot. Is it up? Is it on the screen or no? All right, there we go. So you got the old Splinter. You guys want to hear me? I know about these. Teenage.
You know about pop culture from
I do.
the 80s.
You got Splinter here when he was the old one. You got the young Turtles, and then Splinter now is old. And you got the. This really was. I know it's corny, but kind of was exactly what Millsap's role. It's like a Star Wars. He was Obi-Wan. He's the old guy. He wasn't meant to be here for the entire arc. He was just here to get it started.
You're so right. This is the most impactful thing I've ever seen. This cartoon of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles with Splinter has touched me in a way that I wasn't prepared for.
It is,
Paul
right?
Millsap.
Am I wrong? It is a little hey.
And the only, one thing that could be different, and to me, like one of the so many reasons why the injuries were such a bummer last season, but one is that, wasn't that team really good? And maybe one of Millsap's best chances of finally getting to the promised land. And I'm not going to go rings culture. That they didn't get there with him does not nullify everything he helped them do. But it just would have been so sweet for him to see him get it done.
Screw him. It would have been sweet for me.
That too, Eric. But if the Nuggets ever do get it done with some version of this core in place, one of my first thoughts will actually be of Mr. Millsap and what he helped the Nuggets get done.
Yeah. I mean, we said this before. Like that, Paul Millsap, I think, remains the biggest free agent signing ever for the Denver Nuggets.
Yeah.
He was, when we got him, it was a very big deal. Tim Connolly had to fly down and
it was big.
Other sport. Who went?
It was some Bronco. I can't remember who it
Brandon
was.
Marshall?
Maybe it was Brandon Marshall.
I can't remember who it was.
I can't quite remember, but they had to go court him, wine and dine him, convince him that coming back to the place that he started his life was a good place to come and
he went to Montbello for
round out his basketball career,
cool,
right?
Man.
And he never got the respect that he deserved in the media, which who cares? But it would be really a bummer if people didn't acknowledge what Paul Millsap did for the Denver Nuggets and how he helped turn this culture around and how he helped really get this current team going in the direction that they're going now, like instilling confidence, standing up for the squad when they were being
totally, man.
Punked.
Yeah. Totally. Their best run, one of the best runs they've ever had in franchise history, hinged on him doing exactly what he was meant to do.
Yes, and what I'll always remember is the magic.
Like Hodor is the hold the door.
I'll always remember the magic.
Real hold the door moment.
A real hold the door moment for him.
No, but Millsap's great. Like, what a great guy.
Dad, also a great sort of like nickname. Like the wee guy. I know it's not even. It's like a niche nickname, but it was. He really was like the team dad. That's hence the splitter thing. I will say I did hear some people refer to Jeff Green as Uncle Jeff.
Yeah.
So. Dad might be gone, but Uncle Jeff is here.
I just like the idea that we are personally related to everyone. That we're personally related to anybody on the Nuggets.
Uncle Jeff moved in.
I think that's like his actual nickname. Uncle
It is
Uncle Jeff.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Right,
We replaced Dad for Uncle. All right, let's go really quickly. We'll have to run through some winners and some losers here. I'm going to go winner. I'll give you guys my list, and you can play off them. Number one winner for me.
I know who it's going to be.
Well, you don't. It's the Miami Heat. You thought I was going to go somewhere else, but it's the Miami Heat. They're the number one winner, and here's why. They got Kyle Lowry. He was like the number one. Like everybody wanted Kyle Lowry this offseason.
God, man. Yeah.
Really good, but he fits them very well. They also got PJ Tucker, who by all accounts was supposed to go back to Milwaukee until ownership got cheaper. I don't know what it like. They won a championship, and now it's like, hey, we don't have to run this back now. So they did well. And now look, did they pay Duncan Robinson $90 million, the most ever by an undrafted player? Yes, they did. That seems like a lot of money.
Absolutely
Did they give old ass Jimmy Butler a 5-year max extension?
did.
They
Sure did.
But you know what? Pat Riley wiggles his way out of those situations. That's what he does.
It helps to be just visibly greasy all the time.
I think he could look into anybody's eyes and persuade them. You know, he's the ultimate negotiator.
I think you're right.
I think Miami now goes from a team that was below the other contenders to now, like, I think they're at the bottom of that group of contenders, meaning I don't know that they're going to beat a Brooklyn or even a Milwaukee, maybe though. But they're right there. Like, it wouldn't surprise. Last year would have really surprised me. Now I think they're true contenders.
Yeah, I mean, you got to love an ownership group that's willing to spend.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're like a Miami Heat fan, like, you got to love it.
Ownership management synergy is so important, and that like the Mickey Arison, Pat Riley synergy seems to be the tops.
Yeah. Like,
So great.
It's funny, man. I almost think we sometimes, I'm not even talking about Denver in this situation, but we sometimes try, us even in our position, to make excuses for ownership, like not paying the luxury tax.
Right.
And it's ridiculous. Like, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you own an NBA team, you should be absolutely willing to pay the luxury tax.
Oh, for sure.
You should be. And sometimes there's like excuses made. Oh, they don't want to start it this year and then pay the repeater tax,
Right.
and then it gets really expensive. Like, shut up, man.
What
Like,
are you doing in life?
yeah.
What are you doing with your
if
life?
you don't want to pay the luxury tax, sell the
I
team.
ask the billionaire Stan Kroenke.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in all seriousness, though, it is like, hey, man, if you have any competitive nature to you, it's like, what is
100%.
this freaking couple $1 million?
Yeah,
There's a lot of ways to make
And
money.
we talk about like, oh, if they sign this guy, it's going to double their tax bill, and it's going to go from $5 million to $30 million.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything to these owners.
Right.
It means nothing.
Right.
Or it shouldn't.
So they're, to me, a big winner, and I just really like the roster. Number 2, this is where you thought I was going. The Chicago Bulls.
Chicago.
I don't know why they got the air horn. Chicago, there it is. Chicago with Arturis. Denver Nuggets East. The Chicago Bulls now have Lonzo Ball on a 4-year, $85 million deal. Man, do you guys think if Arturis was still in Denver, would the Nuggets have Lonzo Ball right now?
The viability of that trade wouldn't have changed at all. So no.
Yeah, like what? How would that have?
I'm with Harrison over here. I don't know.
We got to figure out like financially, literally what that looks like and how it happens.
You just maneuver. You maneuver. You just
Yeah.
maneuver. Okay, you make
Sure.
maneuvers.
If you want your guy, you find a way
You
to
find
get
a way.
your guy.
That's such a great point. Harrison's right again.
Unbelievable.
Yep.
Why does our guy have to be Lonzo?
That's my guy. He's so good. And you pair him with Zach LaVine, who's like the most similar player to Jamal Murray, maybe
Yeah.
in the NBA. And you think like, I just think it's going to work. Then you get DeMar DeRozan. They did follow it up with DeMar DeRozan on a massive overpay. Don't love that.
Yeah.
So there's still some TBD.
I
there.
applaud the aggressiveness, though, man. I applaud Arturis being like, yeah, we're going to be good.
They should be good next year.
Yeah.
Chicago should be good next year.
They were confusingly bad after.
Well, they
the
had
the
a lot of
Vucevic trade.
COVID. They had a lot of COVID. That's what
No,
happened.
well,
And he had to clean up a lot of mess from the previous regime.
They would no, but he's saying like they got Vucevic, and then immediately Zach LaVine gets COVID, misses like
Yeah.
20 games, and it's like, man, this is a trash. So that they just
Right.
barely missed whatever. But this year, I'm predicting playoffs bounds, and they might even be like a first round scare team. They
Sure.
might be like the Hawks this year, which you catch lightning a bottle, you go far. I don't know.
Zach LaVine looking pretty good, by the way.
I love Zach LaVine. I'm a Zach LaVine stan.
I was talking about Zach LaVine last year.
You were ahead of the curve, man. I was wrong. Although last year I think I was already coming around. Golden State Warriors here. This is a controversial one because they had a bad start. But guess what? Otto Porter signed with them on a minimum when apparently he could have gone other places. A minimum is like a
How is-
no-risk deal.
How is Otto Porter signing a minimum? He just signed a massive deal.
Because
His
Otto Porter
last
signed
deal.
Otto Porter's played like 30 games over the last 2
Yeah,
years.
he's been
The
he's
guy
been really
can't
injured.
stay healthy. He's got back problems. Like, it's not
They,
good.
they
Well,
also
I-
got Bielitsa on a vet minimum.
I like that
And
one.
then they got, here's the crazy one. Well, it's not that crazy, but they got Steph Curry on a 4-year extension. Worth $215 million, granted. But you talk about ownership that doesn't mind paying. Lacob, man, is actually first team all DGAF. just pays money, man.
Like, I guess sometimes you have to sacrifice your owner just sounding off in the media and like acting like an idiot. And
Stan Kroenke could say whatever the hell he wanted if Denver had a $400 million payroll.
Yeah, you sacrifice that if your owner is going to pay hundreds of $1 million in luxury.
Totally it seems weird that like the owners that operate in the financial hubs of the country are able to spend more.
That's true. That's
the guy that is in Silicon Valley and charges thousands of dollars for every seat in the house is able to spend a lot of money.
It's so true. Like Lacob is such a cringy. Like so many quotes of his are just so like, oh my god, this guy is so annoying. But you know what? I would take it.
Sure.
I would.
Sure.
Stan Kroenke could come out and tell me everything about whatever. As long as he's spending money, I'm like, all right, you're probably right.
There's just more money in these places, like in Miami.
But there's more money in Stan Kroenke too. Like it's not like he is tied. He has money all over the country, all over the world.
I know, but all of that money is like earmarked for the specific teams that generate that money.
But the real estate, he has money in real estate. That money is also extremely valuable.
I mean, I certainly can't. I certainly can't get into the mind of Stan Kroenke, but I know that it's not as cut and dry as we like to think that it is.
So I thought Golden State had a good one. Phoenix, they retains Chris Paul. There was always that fear that maybe he would go somewhere else, even with the number. I always thought Chris Paul was going to the Lakers. I'm not going to lie, so I'm very happy to find out that he did the logical thing, which is take a copious amounts of money. I mean, he really got the bag. And by the way, the Phoenix Suns, because they signed him to that long-term deal, maybe this comes back to haunt them, but you know what? You have to admire when a team has an open window, which they clearly do, and they said, you know what? Damn the torpedoes.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine? They're like, I don't know. I mean, I know we made it to the NBA Finals after not making the playoffs the year before, but are we sure Chris Paul had something to do with it?
And then Landry Shamet, I thought that was a nice add too, to kind of make up for the loss of Torrey Craig for whatever it's worth. Lastly, Washington Wizards.
Yeah, absolutely. So to get off the Westbrook contract, which look, Westbrook to LA means different things, right, than he did to the Wizards. To feel like you got any assets back, which they did, in fact, and then to find a very, very competent replacement and a guy that apparently seems to appease Bradley Beal and excite Bradley Beal and Spencer Dinwiddie. That was a really good offseason for Washington. Now, I'm not saying, to Eric's point to open the show, they're still going to be mediocre at best. Like, it's not like they're now contenders or anything like that, but they were in a handcuffed position, and I think their backs are out from against the wall in a way that I didn't envision.
There's certainly less pressure on them without Westbrook being there, but I know the narrative, the talking points that were put out when they traded Westbrook was, Bradley Beal wants to stay now. We're going to build around Bradley Beal. I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I don't think the Wizards are going to be very good this coming season. I don't see that sitting well with Bradley Beal. So TBD on that.
Yeah, but I also Coach Wes Unseld gets a lot of shooting, a lot of spacing. Might not be great defensively, but whatever.
Shoving out Westbrook for those guys definitely relieves the pressure on Wes. So I'm happy about that. I'm happy about
Lakers got Talen Horton-Tucker, by the way. He was their restricted free agent. They got him 3 years, $32 million. Honestly, I thought he was going to get more than that money than that. So I feel like the Lakers did well by keeping him. So
I think virtually every guy the Lakers retained or signed came in under market value for them.
Shocker.
Which is not shocking at all, but it did work out.
Except for Carmelo Anthony, who deserved
$0. They might have overpaid him on a minimum.
This is the team with
the
thing with teams like the Heat and the Lakers. It's like they have to fight guys to not come to their team. I don't know how great management is. When everybody just will come there for an unreasonably low deal, and so then they just have to sift through and be like, all right, which 35 to 37-year-old do we want on our squad? We have the pick of the litter.
Lastly, let's go through some losers here in free agency. Oh, they're so fun. The first name, I can't wait to say it. Portland Trailblazers, losers.
Big losers.
What did they do? Damian Lillard says, "Hey, I want you guys to be as hungry as I am." And what do?
Maybe he wasn't hungry.
Maybe they're like, "You're not that hungry, are you?"
Well, I think this might play into Vote's theory that Neil O'Shea's trying to get fired.
He does appear to it. Okay, they got Cody Zeller. I know That's Matt Moore, our buddy Matt Moore. That's his guy. And look, he's solid. He's solid.
Player.
He's not bad. But I mean, whatever. Ben McLemore, whatever. They re-signed Norman Powell. By the way, $90 million, 5 years, $90 million. Kind of steep price for normal Powell. But
Tony Snell, it's not a terrible pickup. But again, you put it in the context, right? That important preface at the beginning. all the pressure is on them to impress
Sure.
Dame. And you definitely can't look like, are they maybe marginally better than last year? Sure. Was that a splashy offseason?
Is there going to be a single person on earth that picks the Portland Trail Blazers to win the title next year?
No, dude. I just feel like the silence is a little deafening in my mind. I just feel like you got to look at the 76ers and the Portland Trail Blazers. I feel like neither one of them are kind of doing anything.
Setting up. They're setting up the Army men for the swap.
They've just been
the prisoners have been
negotiating over pick protections for the last week.
I just, those
locked into a
those
fierce
two
negotiation.
squads should have been loud, and they've been very quiet.
That's a great point. It's a great point. Speaking of which, another loser. Philadelphia 76ers. They got Andre Drummond. They have not yet traded Ben Simmons. You're right. They can salvage this all. They could come. We know that Daryl Morey has been wanting a king's ransom. It's like, hey, they want everything. Nobody seems to be biting, at least at the moment. So maybe they salvage this. I wouldn't bet against Daryl Morey. I do like your theory here. Maybe, I don't know. But anyway, they look like losers right now because they look like the exact same team. And Ben Simmons still not in the group chat. He's wondering why nobody's texted. And like, hey, did we change the group chat settings?
No,
like, no,
you
you're
can't
just not
actually
in it.
get out of a group chat. So Ben Simmons just got a new phone just to get out of all the group chats. This is the only option.
The perennial every year. It's a tradition unlike any other. Another free agency loser. The New York Knicks.
Let's go.
The New York Knicks. They
My
have
God.
$53 million in cap space, guys. Want to know what they got? Derrick Rose, Alec Burks,
Yep.
Nerlens Noel,
Okay, check.
Fournier.
Fournier, the only new addition. Evan Fournier.
How do you got all this? They're like, man, maybe Kawhi. Maybe we're gonna get Lillard is upset. He's gonna come over here. Maybe we're gonna get this or that. It's like, you're gonna get Fournier and Alec Burks, Derrick Rose.
If I'm the Knicks, I would have rather just not signed Fournier and just stayed with that $30 million or whatever of cap space, man.
Well, Fournier's a
And
good
just-
player. He's a good player.
But here's the thing. The Knicks had their season that was good but not great, but it felt great because it'd been so long. And then they got to the playoffs and got doused with the cold water of who they really are, which is a team that gets ran off of the court
I
and
told you it was
embarrassed
coming.
by Trae Young. And now they're like, because it's always fun that first year.
Right.
It might be fun the second. Maybe that's what they're banking on is they're like, you know what? We'll do it again, and people will love it again.
And maybe a lot of it is just they hope RJ takes a big step forward and with another year. But
Of course.
it did look a lot like that year was good enough for us.
But
Yeah.
Let's lock it back in.
I mean, I guess the Nuggets start to show promise. Yeah, then they signed Paul Millsap. You're right. You know what? I was
know
going to
what?
defend the Knicks. Knicks, you're
Evan
a
Fournier
joke.
is not the Knicks Paul Millsap.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're right.
anytime
They need the boost. Evan Fournier. Not
You
the
were
boost.
about to defend the Knicks. Yeah, come on, man.
I just felt bad for
that
the Knicks.
sentence never starts right.
Knicks
all right.
management was clearly watching USA France. That's what happened.
I've got one last loser.
Yeah, there's one team you're missing.
New Orleans Pelicans.
So,
Yeah.
They let Lonzo
No.
go, even though Zion said it's his buddy and he really wants him to return. Zion right now, everything should be about keeping Zion, who, look, spoiler alert, doesn't want to be there and probably is going to get ugly before too long. They lose him. They bring in Devontae Graham, who, remember, he had that good year 2 years ago, and he's okay. He's super tiny. They got Satoransky. They got Garrett Temple. Guys, an uninspiring team. I think they also made that trade with Valanciunas. I think, once again, they are going to be in that 10-11 seed range in the Western
course.
Conference. They're going to be fighting for a road game in the play-in. That's my personal take.
I mean, the player I'm most excited that they brought in is Satoransky, which is never a good sign. That's not good.
Because you are not excited
It
about
will
Satoransky.
not stop them from beating Denver twice, though.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
just
They'll
get
beat
that
Denver.
out.
Oh,
Probably 2 out of 3
by a
times.
lot.
Yeah.
2 out of 3, probably. Yeah.
I've got a loser, John Collins,
Oh, he's a loser. Oh, that's a person.
who's doesn't breaking the rules, but I maybe envision quite the payday. Doesn't
Still
look
time.
like there's still time, but
Does anybody even have a max? to give him?
yeah, who's got money left, right?
Hopefully Fournier hasn't signed on the dotted line yet. The Knicks are like, hey.
Dennis Schroeder, too, by the way.
That's
He was
another
another
good
one
one.
that
Oh,
had
man.
unrealistic expectations of what he wanted. I'm sure his agent's just like, I don't know, man.
He's
So-
like,
Yeah.
but how come Mason Plumlee keeps getting paid?
that's
He's
so
like,
true.
you know, I don't
Signed
know what
with
to
Mark
say.
Bartelstein,
I don't know,
man.
I don't know what to
dude.
tell you.
Guy does work.
Yeah, dude.
Pelicans, man, look, I could be wrong about him. Zion's really good. By the way, you guys mentioned New Orleans going to beat Denver. You guys are forgetting something. They don't beat Denver when Aaron Gordon's there.
Oh,
Remember Aaron Gordon came?
That's right.
It was a different story.
Let's freak
So
out, dude.
anyway, New Orleans, I just look at and I go, maybe Willie Green's great. Maybe he really turns things around. I don't know. But I look at that team and I go, I feel bad because I root for small markets, and I hate the way that the Lakers got Anthony Davis and everybody just turned it on the Pelicans and said this or that. But I look at the Pelicans now and I'm like, you got Zion. Him and Luka, the only two players over the last 5 years where you're like, yeah, you're gift wrapped a great team, and they're just finding ways to not make it a great team, and it's sad.
Yeah, like David Griffin, man. Maybe the league's passed him by a little. Maybe just a little.
Or maybe LeBron held
maybe
him up.
LeBron held him up just a little bit.
What is he
Dude,
doing,
how quickly the story changes. Remember when they won that lottery for
You can cue that outro there, Kill.
Zion, and things couldn't look better. They have a glut of picks.
And then you watch a New Orleans game and you're like, what's going on with that arena? Why is every seat a different color? What is happening
They're trying to replicate a smoothie. With little bits.
Ooh, little berries everywhere.
That can't be right. That can't be right.
All right, guys, that does it for today's show. Hopefully the Denver Nuggets play tomorrow or practice tomorrow, because I would really love to start getting some momentum building up towards Summer League, and also just to have a Summer League team to cheer on.
This is my favorite point of the season.
The off season, the deep off season.
When we have our meeting that you guys all know about now, should we have a contingency plan if the Nuggets don't go to Summer League?
We're just gonna keep pushing the meeting back and back and back.
Yeah, should we decide another team that we go?
We should go on a spirit quest.
Probably the
into
Bulls
Death
would be our
Valley.
next
Yeah,
team.
we'll go follow the Bulls Summer League team.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Thanks. Hit that like button on the way out. We'll see you tomorrow.